Hey everyone, different video today if you are a regular viewer of my channel. Again, this is for my group dynamics class. This is my final presentation talking about what I learned in this class. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this class. And I went into it thinking, this is going to be really beneficial for me in the future because of having to lead a team of people. But as you'll see with what I mentioned in my presentation, a lot of it was self-reflection on the teams that I'm in. And it was really helpful. And I'm trying to apply the things that I learned in this class to the teams that I am on. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And we're going to get started. So 3 things I learned in group dynamics. The first thing is kind of what I mentioned already, but that's how the youth team functions. So I like to think about the iceberg analogy. Now, we didn't really cover this in class, but I applied it to, I believe, one of the discussions that we had. And how I think about this is the iceberg analogy, where the things that you're good at is on top and what people see. And then what is on bottom is what needs to be worked on and things that people can't see. So I'm going to exit out of this for 1 second here. I'm going to share this screen. So I made this for the youth team that I am on. So the things that are at the top are events that are physically getting our families out there to be seen by our congregation and our community. The one thing that doesn't fit that is surveying for feedback. Finally, I had a talk with my team about like a year ago, and I said, hey, if we really want to improve confirmation Sunday school and these other little things that we're doing, we really need to be asking people for feedback because that's what's going to help us. We can't always change things based off of our perspective. We really do need to ask the families what they think about certain things. So that's at the top as well. Underneath is what I consider things to make up the foundation of a team. So this is policies, rules, purpose, a mission statement. We do have a mission statement, but personally, I think it's a little bit too broad, and I think we need to narrow it down to be a little bit more specific. Analyzing is something that we're not really good at and is absolutely something that people don't see. Because when we analyze, we're taking a hard look at how we are functioning and how we are doing certain things. And we need to really think about that. I think when we want to change something, um, so that's something that's at the bottom as well. Clear responsibilities. There's been so many times on this team where we think this is our responsibility. The pastor or somebody higher up will ask for something with that specific responsibility, and then we get shut out because we gave our feedback and thoughts on what should be done and whatever. And it just ends up being a hot mess. We really don't know what our responsibilities are. One thing that I question on this team is, yes, we are in charge of providing faith nurturing things for the youth. But what about the millennials that are a little bit older? What can we provide them to enrich their faith? Is that something we're in charge of? I don't know. And that also goes back to our title because we have been titled the youth team. However, a while back in the past, we were the youth and congregational life team. So that changes our purpose and our responsibilities. How we manage change. So we like change. We know that we cannot stay the same and improve. We like change. However, we change too much. And so we need to really slow it down, try it out for a certain length of time, analyze what we're doing, and then make the changes we think are necessary. So this is just what I think this analogy would look like if it was applied to the youth team that I am on. So going back to this, let's go to the next slide. So one of the first things we learned was positive psychological view on team success. So this is really focusing on team well-being. It's focusing on team emotional health and social health as well. Really just team mental health, because I don't know about you all, but being on a team is exhausting, especially now when we're somehow halfway through the year and people are experiencing burnout and just not motivated. It's really hard. And in my situation, and maybe some of you are in this situation as well, where you are one person out of X amount of people who are actually doing things on your team. I just had a conversation with this somebody else who was talking to me about, it's been really hard to be on her team because she's one of X amount of people that actually do things for the team. And I personally know what that feels like, because there's 5 of us on the youth team and only 3 of us who actually are physically there helping with certain things. So that's challenging. I think this is really important to remember, because it's not about what we do physically, right? You need to check in with your team members and see, how are they doing mentally? Are we exhausted with certain things? Is there something we can take a step back on because we're not in the mindset to do it? Socially, how are we doing? How do we feel we are doing socially? Are we thinking that we're doing enough to put ourselves out there? Or are we putting ourselves out there too much socially and we need to step back? That's all important things too on how a team functions and how team members are doing. And the last thing I learned was how teams work. So I think about this from my other team that I'm on, which is council, and it's a more formal team. And I think what makes that team and a lot of other teams work is really the foundation of a team. And that includes a clear purpose, a clear mission statement, clear guidelines and policies, rules for the memberships. With youth, we don't have rules about, can we kick anybody off of the team? With council, we have that a little bit. I guess we do, because we do take an oath to be on council. So we do have that. Um, and that's actually really important, because in business and in life, the way to move yourself forward, move yourself towards success, is going to be the bus analogy. I'm just full of analogies today. Maybe it's because the sun's finally peeking out. I don't know. But the bus analogy. Let's think about this when we talk about change. You're not really going to go anywhere if the people on the bus don't want to go in that direction. If the people on the bus are afraid of the change that you're going to make, you're really not going to be anywhere. And it's going to feel like the leaderships are at the back of the bus pushing that vehicle forward. So you really need to figure out who's on your team and who's going to be the people on the team to help you go forward, who are going to say, yes, I want to see this change because this is how it's going to benefit us. And I think that's just so important. And I love that I just thought of that analogy on the spot. And that's hard to do in a church, because you don't know, church is not a place to just kick people out. It's the opposite. We're supposed to bring people in, but it's really hard to move forward if we don't have the proper people on the bus to move us forward. So those are just some things that I learned from this class. And honestly, a lot of that was, yes, from this class, but also just business school as a whole. So I wish you all the best of luck, classmates, in what you decide to do in the future. Congratulations to everyone who is graduating. We finally did it. 4 years of hard work and we're still alive. So that deserves a round of applause. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your summer, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.